And Then What?
And Then What?
And Then What podcast.
Welcome to And Then What, the new podcast where journalism's impact takes center stage. My name is Nanada Kwasi Chiama. In this season, we take a deep dive into some of the most critical issues facing Indigenous communities, the environment, and the fight for human rights. We've spoken with some incredible voices, like Brandy Morin, an Indigenous journalist from the Treaty 6 territory in Alberta, Canada, whose reporting on resource extraction has revealed the brutal impact on Indigenous communities. Brandy's powerful investigation into the Thacker Pass mine and its environmental and cultural consequences had left a lasting mark. We also hear from Will Falk, an environmental advocate whose work challenges the idea of a green revolution at the cost of Indigenous and environmental integrity.
I discovered that it's pretty much the same old, and that the so-called green revolution is an illusion.
Despite the fact that they're destroying 2 massacre sites of Paiute people for the Thacker Pass mine, and despite the fact that people wanted to just peacefully protest and say, hey, you shouldn't be allowed to do this, they're still dropping the hammer on us.
You cannot mine your way out of the climate crisis.
Our series also takes us to Kenya, where journalist Tom Odula exposed the exploitation and abuse of women working in the tea plantations belonging to global tea corporations. Tom's documentary revealed not just the abuse, but more importantly, the system which props up the abuse, bringing attention to a hidden epidemic of sexual violence and exploitation.
The allegations they had made against the supervisors and managers were proved by our undercover reporters.
It was extremely disturbing. Yes, I have come across this kind of allegations of sexual harassment and gender-based violence. But through Tom's work, there was evidence, more like watching a horror movie.
We also spoke with Neha Wadika, whose work with The Intercept uncovered a long hidden story about systemic abuse and cover-ups at global financial institutions, leading to real-world accountability. Her investigation into the culture of silence within institutions and the crucial role of whistleblowers has helped amplify the voices of those most affected.
And Ryan had gotten a tip from a whistleblower about sexual abuse that occurred at a Kenyan school run by Bridge International Academies.
There were a number of prominent philanthropists who had supported Bridge International, including Gates, including Chan Zuckerberg Foundation. What has been their response?
I haven't heard anything from my end from those institutions. She's encouraging more survivors to come forward and report. And what she said to me was so wonderful. I mean, she said, we finally have a voice.
My very own colleague, Claire Provo, alongside activist Edward Mutebi, whose investigation into the funding of anti-LGBTQ groups in Uganda opened up a global conversation on the responsibility of donors and organizations.
The issue of aid versus rights in Uganda is deeply complex and often overlooked. The challenge lay in navigating the web of financial records and uncovering the truth hidden beneath layers of bureaucracy.
These findings received a lot of attention. There was a lot of anger on behalf of those who support rights and have been unknowingly funding these groups through their taxes.
It's quite shocking, it's quite saddening, but also reflecting on the fact that they are receiving all these big sums of money, but there is no money going into fighting back.
If journalists' social purpose is to support democracy and universal rights, we should be really thinking about what can we do here.
These incredible investigative reporters have created a ripple effect that challenges power, exposes corruption, and leads to societal change. Each story we tell uncovers not just the pain and injustice, but the resilience of people fighting back. From the struggles of marginalized communities in Africa to the fight for LGBTQ rights globally, the stories are as diverse as the people behind them. This season, we shine a spotlight on journalism as activism, where stories are catalysts for change and sparks for transformation. It's all about the impact these great stories left in their wake.